welcome to Scrappin with Sheri. We are on to page 78 in our sketchbook, and I have to admit, I've been putting off thinking about this sketch because I don't have any Christmas pictures currently. I didn't really have anything I wanted to do trees with, but then an idea hit me. If you flip this upside down, you can kind of make it look like ice cream cones. And so that's what I'm going to do with this page. We had gone out to eat ice cream, and we didn't even get it in a cone. They're all in a cups, but ice cream cones just work for this. So I'm basically doing this layout upside down, and you know, my pictures are not going to fit the sizes of these because all of my pictures are vertical rather than horizontal, but I'm going to show you how to make that work. So lots of different things going on in this particular page, but the first thing I want to do is look at all the layering here. They've got a background that I'm going to use the navy blue for. There is another part inside that is like a stripe here and here, top and bottom, with a different color in the middle, and then every photo is matted on top of that. That's a little much for me in some respects, but I'm going to stay pretty true to it. I'm just not going to use several different colors here because I want this to show. So this is going to be my inside piece, and it tells me that I need to cut that 11.5 by 11.5. So I just need to cut 1/2 inch off of this side and then this side right here, and that'll give me my 11.5 by 11.5. Now I really love the dots on the back of this, and I want to use them, but I just don't feel like my design is going to show up well on that. I may end up flipping it before it's over, but this paper came out of an incentive pack called Ice Cream Social, and I just love it. I think it's adorable paper. I'm really, really pleased with it. I love the colors of it, but when we get to my pictures, I'll just have to see which one is going to match the best. Now, I am going to go ahead and make some of the ice cream cones for the middle, and then we'll go back and pull the pictures. Now, the Ice Cream Social came with this little punch that is so cute that punches the little ice cream cones, and that's a great way to do it. But what happens if you didn't get the incentive and you don't have the little ice cream cone punch? And that's a whole lot smaller than the ice cream, or than the trees on here. So what I played around with was making my own ice cream cones, and I actually made them into little waffle cones because I just like the look of that. So what I used to do that was just a strip of paper, and it tells us measurements on here that you can do 1.5 inch tall by 2.5. So let me see how wide this is. This is actually about a 1 3/4 wide, which is going to work. I do need to trim off some little glitches there, but let's see if they had a 1 3/4. 1 3/4 by 2 3/4. So let's go with that measurement, give or take. I mean, it doesn't have to be exact. But what you're basically cutting is a rectangle. And here again, you can make these whatever size you want. The good thing about that is, then all you have to do is kind of fold it over a little, make you a crease where your center mark is. And you can mark that with a pencil if you prefer. But then you're going to line up this corner with your center mark, the crease or the pencil mark, whatever you just made, and slice. Now, you know me, I'm all about saving whatever scraps that we can salvage to use again. And what I discovered was I could use this one ice cream cone, but then I could piece these two back together and make another one of the same size. And this one is actually pieced like that. You can kind of see the line if I bend it just right. But once we put the waffles on it, it's hard to tell that. So I'm going to move this little bitty one and show you how I did the waffles on that waffle cone. Now, I did that using the fishnet punch. Whoever would have thought a fishnet punch would come in so handy for waffles? And to do the punch, this is not going to matter so much because I'm not doing it as a border, but typically you would slide your paper to the first black line and start punching. Here again, it doesn't matter with this because I'm going to be piecing it anyway. But this punch also has, let me see if I can get it where you can see it. It has the little triangle that comes out, and that's to help you line it up in the right spot to go again. So line up your little triangle. And that triangle is present on all of our repetitive punches where it's just the same design over and over. There's no variation. And that's just to help you get them lined up exactly right, so you're not punching on top of a design that's already there. That one I did not punch through very well, and it's kind of sticking. You can see it in there. You just have to get all the scrappies out. And every so often you need to kind of get those scraps out anyway, because they will get jammed up in there and create a mess. And because I punched on that paper, I can just take that off and get it to the trash very easily. The rubbish bin, as my Aussie friends call it. And then all you've got to do is pull out your silicone mat, your repositionable tape, and just run some tape down this waffle look. And I just stuck it straight on there. Got a little glitch right there, but you know, I can do some creative overlapping. It's not a big deal. And then just use your multi-purpose scissors and cut right along the edge of that. You do need to clean off your tools every so often too, where you've used this repositionable tape on them, because they will get gunky and they won't work quite as well. And I do that using alcohol wipes. I'm going to trim off just that edge right there, but I am going to overlap something, I'm sure. I can always make a mistake into an embellishment opportunity. And I've still got some tape there. So all I'm doing on this is lining up these little points with these next little points and just fixing that waffle piece together. And then trimming off the excess one more time. And then I've got just one more little edge down there that we need to finish up. And again, we can do that with scrappy pieces generally, especially if I turn it so the tape's the right direction. That one doesn't seem to fit exactly right, so I'm going to use a little bit that's left right here to finish that up. Now, I did go ahead and pre-make a few of these, but you can make these in all different sizes, just like the trees on the original sketch. You can make them all the same size, but I'm going to be doing some alternation because I am going to use some of these bigger ones, and then I'm also going to use some of the stickers that came with that kit. Now, I'm not going to take all the time on camera to make a bunch of ice cream cones. I think you've got the gist of it. Remember, you're using your trimmer. The new photo trimmer is great for this. Cut a width that you like, a length that you like, then fold it to get your halfway point or measure it, and then cut corner to midpoint, and you've got those cones done. Now let's look at how this is going to be laid out on our page, because I don't want to start putting all the center stuff down until I know exactly where my pictures are going to go. And I'll probably wait and do all this embellishy stuff last. So let's pull out my pictures. I've got 3 that I know I'm going to use vertically. And look, they're already going to take up all of my midline space. We were kind of looking a mess. This was a new ice cream place that opened, and we had such a fun time. It's called the Chill Sloth, and they actually have a sloth in the ice cream place inside an enclosure, so we had to go there. But I do know that these 3 pictures particularly I would like to use on one page. Now, this will be a 2-page spread, and both pages are not going to have all this fancy embellishment. So my embellishment may not even go through the middle at all. I may end up doing it as a corner embellishment so I can get another photo here. This is changing as I work with it. I'm going to cut these pictures down a little bit because I do want to go back and do the matting on these. I feel like they need that. As an aside, let me just tell you, I've been a part of several different challenges this summer where I've just created pages based on other people's layouts. I love doing that. I love taking a sketch and making it work for me. And over the last, let's see, this is August. Since the 1st of June, I have done like 160 or 70 pages. I've been so pleased with doing all these pages. And here again, it's not like I have, it's not like I've dreamed up all these ideas and done them. I've used a sketch to start with, and then I've gone off on my own and done my own thing with them. Now, I obviously am going to need to mat behind these because you see how those pictures are just fading right into that background. So we are going to use some navy and do some matting. And for that, I'm going to have to get out my 12-inch trimmer to cut that full-size piece of paper. So see, there's still a need for your 12-inch trimmer and for your photo trimmer. Both tools work so well together. Now, I know that I left these pictures 6 inches high, so I'm going to go with a 6 1/4 mat. And I'm just going to cut that off for now. And then go back with my photo trimmer. I hope you watched the video of this new trimmer that I did, just to show you the benefits of it. I will tell you, I have seen several people talk lately about getting cut using this trimmer. And I'm not going to say I don't know how they did it, because as soon as I say that, I'll probably cut myself. But you do need to be a little cautious with any of our tools. In fact, I cut my finger, the whole end of it, using my regular personal trimmer before this new one came. I jokingly told my husband that I thought my old trimmer was mad that I was about to ditch it for this new one, so it bit me. But the blade on here is extremely sharp. So when you're picking this up, when you're moving it from place to place, you need to be mindful of where you put your fingers. And that's the case with any of these tools that have a blade. I saw that somebody had picked it up like this. That blade is very sharp. So be sure when you're picking it up, if your blade is all the way down, you've got a place to grab here. You can grab on the side, or you can pick it up by this side or the ends. But be sure your blade is down when you start to grab that thing. Don't want anybody getting injured so that you can't scrapbook anymore for a while. I found it very hard when I had a big Band-Aid around the end of my finger to try to get my scrapbooks done very well, because I kept catching my Band-Aid on everything. So be careful when you're using this new trimmer. It is very sharp. Now you can see this is a little bit bigger border than I would normally do on my photos. You know, normally I do about 1/4 inch. Let's see if we can even get them to fit. Oh, they're so close. I'm going to go back and cut this one in just a little bit closer on this side. And yes, I could have measured that before I started cutting. Did I? No. But that's okay. I've had several people tell me lately, I used to think when I did a video it all had to be perfect, but several people have said lately, I like it when you make a mistake and you show us how to fix it, so please keep doing that. Well, I can tell you I make plenty of mistakes, so don't worry about that, but I am trying to show more of them on camera for you so you can see how I make it work for me. I think that's probably one of my favorite parts of scrapbooking, is trying to figure out the puzzle and trying to figure out how to make it work when I mess it up. All right, that's much better. So to stick these, I'm going to stick the 2 outside edges down first. That trimmer does cut so very straight too. I had noticed with my other one, it was some of my cuts were starting to not be quite as good as others, and sometimes I was getting some little variation in my cuts. So I am enjoying the straight cuts once again. I'm trying to keep it sort of evenly spaced side to side. It's not going to be exact, but pretty close. And as I'm doing this, I'm already trying to think in my head how I'm going to make the next page coordinate with this. I haven't looked ahead in my sketchbook to see if the next page might work as a 2-pager across from it, but, you know, sometimes that works really well. Now, I do need to add this to the back. Yes, I could have gutted this and used it for matting my photos. I didn't. I just don't have a lot of time today. So, rather than taking that extra step, I just pulled out another sheet of navy blue. I order navy blue by the boatloads. I use it so much. What is your color of go-to paper? What do you always pull first? Mine is any shade of blue, but my cardstock choice is always navy blue. Now, I do love that background. I really don't want to cover it all up. So, as I'm looking at this, let me think where I want to go with it. I could put, let's see. We could use the picture of the name of the restaurant here. That would be a good one to use. And then rather than having all this through the center, I could just make me some right up here. We could just add the little ice cream cones here. And I think that may be the way I'm going with it. Very different. Very, very different. If you are a sketch person who wants to be true to sketches, you're going to hate this one because it's so not going to be. And let's see what kind of sizing I have here. This is about a 5 3/4. My photo is a 4, so I'm going to cut it at 4 1/4. And then we're just going to cut this photo down a little bit to make it fit that. I don't want to start a whole new sheet of paper. I loved this picture because it shows all these different toppings that they had for the ice cream. That was really fun, being able to see all their choices. I did get an edge of the menu that has some of their things listed on it, so that was also fun. This was just a really neat place. I'm glad they happened to open while we were down there, so we got to go and experience it right away. Now, I'm afraid as I would make this, all I keep thinking is I'm covering up so much of this really cute paper. And initially, you know, my thought is even, well, maybe we need a box here to put these ice cream cones on, but I don't want to do that. I want to keep that confetti. I want to keep that cute like that. So we'll mat this picture, stick it on. Let me go back to that ruler and get these sides even. And if I do that, that's still leaving me some of that showing through the center, which I do like. Some of this pattern is showing still. All right. So, picking up this train of thought, we are going to go back and add our little ice cream cones. And I do need to make tops for these ice cream cones. And how are we going to do that? You know, our little build-in ice cream punch actually had the top on it. But I'm thinking that maybe our cloud punch would do the tops for these ice cream cones. So I got the cloud frame punch. I have noticed a lot lately, people are talking about their cloud frame punch has popped and it's not working anymore. And if yours is one of those, I am so sorry to hear that. Mine actually popped, and I can't even explain to you how it looked, but it popped open so that this part and the bottom were disconnected, totally unusable. Several people have contacted Creative Memories about that, and Creative Memories has issued them a credit because that punch is no longer available. Well, I felt like I really had nothing to lose, so I used E6000 glue and glued mine back together, and so far it is still working. I glued it about 2 months ago. I've heard several people say that the camper punch, the cloud punch, and I think there was one more that tend to pop like that. For some reason, the springs are too tight inside there in manufacturing, causes them to pop open. And Creative Memories said that they realized it was a problem after the fact. They were sorry. And people are storing them open like this rather than locking them down so they don't pop while they're on the shelves. Just an aside, totally freebie right there. So the cloud frame punch to me looks like a cute little ice cream topper. And I think I can cut this down and make it work on my little cones. So we're just going to try it and see. As my friends keep reminding me, I say all the time, it's just paper. Yeah, I think that's kind of cute. A little bit different. The pink doesn't really match anything in my pictures, but I felt like it coordinated okay. This is another piece of the paper from this pack, so I knew that it would go with the theme, whatever. And I like the fact that it looks like it's got little sprinklies on it. I think I cut that in too far on that side, but I bet I can overlap that too. I think I like it better with the ice cream coming over the top, kind of melting down the sides. So, you know, as we're playing, let's just keep playing and see if we can figure out how to make it look good. And that one's not going to angle in well because it's an end piece. So I'm going to cut a few more of these ice cream cones and see if I can play with that a second. I'll just do that off camera, not to waste your time. Okay, so with a few quick cuts, I used this cloud maker to make the tops of my ice cream cones. And I'm just going to use a little tape at the top here. I did decide I liked the ice cream kind of coming over the top. I could have made some really giant scoops, but I really didn't feel like I had room for that. There's an ugly glitchy here. There's a little glitchy there. You know what we're going to do with those. We're just going to embellish them. And it'll be fun. And if I hadn't told you they were there, you hopefully would not have noticed. So I just kind of used my scissors and made a scallopy cut around the edges of those, just to kind of get them the way I needed them. All right, so except for embellishment, this page is done. Let me pull out a couple of the embellishments I was thinking about, and let's see how we can work them in. I also have the stickers that came with this. And I am going to add some smaller ice cream cones around that. Maybe even some of the little bowls. Ours came in cups and in little paper containers. We've got cute embellishments. That ice cream is super cute. I may use that on the facing page. Everything is better with sprinkles. That's cute. You can see all the stuff on top. There was another embellishment. Fortunately, I have several ice cream pages because we like to do ice cream. So some of the embellishments that came with this kit were cute. There was one that I really, really liked. Oh, the best time for ice cream is always. I like that because it pulls out the orange that's in my son-in-law's shirt, and then it pulls out the darker colors too. So I do feel like that is going on there for sure. And that may be all I need for that. Oh, but this one is cute. There's always room for dessert. That one may be it for this page because we had just gone out to eat a really big dinner. And then we decided we had to go and try out this new ice cream place. So even though we were really full, we went ahead and did it. Yeah, this page is going to be there's always room for dessert. Definitely. And I'm not going to use any of these others, but some of these are going on there. So let's go ahead and stick down our ice cream cones. Now I can do that with my regular tape. Do you prefer regular tape or repo tape? I have a couple of customers who use repo tape almost exclusively on everything. I personally am still a regular tape girl. But sometimes I find it hard to change things, so that's probably why. I've just always liked our regular tape. You can see I wrote my measurement on that one as a 2 by 3 I made initially, because I felt like if the sizing didn't work, I'd want to know why and how to change it. That's going to have to go over a little bit more. And I could layer some more color behind this just to make that more pink on the background if I wanted to. Obviously, I'm not. I've got one little piece sticking up right there. So I'm going to pop some repo just on that corner right there to make it lay down. Now we've got that. Let's pull out some foam squares and get some of these embellishments going. Now, I will have to do some journaling on the opposite page, particularly about the fact this is a new ice cream place. And based on my title, I'm also going to have to explain that we had already gone out to eat that night and had a big dinner, but decided we couldn't let this go by without trying it out. These are stickers, so they are going to kind of stick down a little bit more probably. I'm going to put that one right there on the edge of that picture. So my journaling will need to go on my opposite page. And I don't talk enough about journaling, but y'all don't forget the journaling. It's so important. It's like the stories that we tell each other. And if we don't do any journaling with them, once we're gone, those stories are going to be lost. So I would encourage you to do the journaling for when you're not there to tell the stories. Those cherries look like little hearts. How cute is that? I think probably we need some more smaller ice cream cones. And I can make those go wonky like the others. And do some vanilla right there. I'm going to tell you, I'm really weird about some things. And one of those is the fact that I don't really like ice cream in the winter. I only like to get ice cream when it's summertime. And in the same token, I don't like soups in the summer. Are you weird about any foods like that? Are there certain things you just don't do in certain seasons? I'm covering up a glitch right there, so that's why that ice cream is going way over there in that corner. So are there things you're funny about like that? I do have a glitch right here I want to cover. We're going to do another waffle cone there. And just kind of let that overlap. And we'll do a chocolate ice cream on that one. I really like the way this page is shaping up. I wasn't sure where we were headed with it when we started. I know that might surprise y'all. I used to plan every single page out before I ever started because I didn't want to look crazy. Now I just get on here and show you how crazy I am. Let's see if we've got any other. I feel like we need one more little embellishment there. I don't want any big words. Scooptacular. It's got words on it. I'm not wild about that. Now that's pretty cute. That adds me a little more color in without being too much. And remember, I will have another page across from this to do too. And we'll see how I'll coordinate those. All right. I love it. All right. So page 78 in your sketchbook is done. Sort of upside down, but it works for me. And not at all like the sketch. If somebody looked at this and said, oh, page 78, no, they would never get this out of it. But it did inspire me. It inspired me to try the ice cream cones and to do something a little different. And that's what we're all about this year, is trying more in 24. Now, I'm just going to do a quick sneak peek. Oh, yeah. I think this may work for my facing page because I can cut these pictures down. So, tune in next time for page 79 and we'll do the facing page for this. So you see how I make two sketches work. And until I see you next time, happy scrapping.